Hey friends, and welcome to my 10th episode! Yay! Okay, I couldn't find any confetti, so I decided to use some magic lands that I had lying around. Anyways, 10 episodes of completely inane rambling, talking about video games. I'm having a lot of fun. I know nobody's watching, but hey, someday somebody will watch and they'll be able to go back and there's an archive. They'll be able to look up my nose and watch me talk about video games. Anyways, today is Thursday, March 19th, 2014, and I'm going to continue talking about Llamasoft on the iOS and the Minotaur project. I think I'm going to try and cover 3 games in today's episode. 3 fantastic, excellent Jeff Minter Llamasoft games. Oh man, I can't get enough of these things. Caverns of Minos. I picked this up day before I had to do jury duty one time, and spent hours and hours and hours playing it. Luckily, the lobby that I was in waiting to be called for jury duty had a power socket, so I was able to plug my phone in and just play and play and play. This is a game inspired in part by Caverns of Mars, obviously, which was I don't know what you'd call it, a vertical scroller where you pilot a craft down through a ever-narrowing cavern, supposedly on, I can't remember if it was Phobos or Deimos, one of Mars's moons. And it was sort of River Raid in reverse. Instead of going up, you're going down. And Jeff took that and combined it with Lunar Lander, so the controls are thrust and move, so you move your ship back and forth, you thrust. With the more complex ships, you rotate it and thrust like the asteroid ship. And he added an awful lot of explosions. I mean, it's a Llamasoft game, so filled the screen with all kinds of craziness. One very cool thing about this game is that you can aim your shots by tilting the device as you're playing. So this is one that doesn't work very well with the arcade, the joystick attachment, I'm guessing. It's fully intended for play on the screen, and you can sort of tilt it to make your shots go down towards enemies that are off to the sides. Basically, you go down through a cavern, reach the very bottom, land, pick up whatever objective, like a pair of underpants or whatever is at the bottom of the cavern, and then you get yourself back out while enemies come out from everywhere. And it's just a ton of fun, and I like that each level, as you progress in very typical Minter fashion, starts out very easy, gets progressively harder as you play, full of explosions and enemies and crazy humor. Of course, you're rescuing Minotaurs, so you can land on ledges to get Minotaurs to join your ship, which recovers your shields and your fuel. Fantastic game, so highly recommended. Let's see, next up I wanted to talk about 5 a Day. 5 a Day is basically mellow, trippy Time Pilot. When I was growing up, there was a Time Pilot arcade machine in a pizza place that was on the way home from school. So occasionally I'd drop in there, lose some quarters. I was terrible at it, but it had some of the most gorgeous graphics of its day. It's a top-down, I don't know what you'd call it, maybe an arena shooter, early arena shooter, where you fly your ship around and there's ships that come from every different direction and you have to blow them up. Jeff's sort of addition to this is, well, for one thing, 5 a Day has like the most mellow, trippy sound effects and music scheme. It's just so relaxing to play. And he added, rescuing fruits from the invaders, so there will be invaders dragging fruits behind them, and if they eat the fruits, they become super powered, sort of like Defender eating the humans when they reach the top of the screen. But with 5 a Day, you shoot the enemy, grab the fruits, it gives you more, replenishes your shields, gives you more firepower. And it's just like all the Minter games. It's just a ton of fun to play. Very, easy to get into the zone, just dragging your ship around. Your ship is always smack dab in the center of the screen, and you have to sort of know where your enemies are coming at you from the sides. And each level has a boss. Each level is a day, I guess, or an hour in a day. So you want to get 5 fruit over the course of a day. That's the 5 a day. And then after every week of 5 days, you get a new set of enemies and a new scheme and a new color scheme, and it obviously ramps up in difficulty very quickly. And let's see what else. Super Ox Wars. Alright, so this is Xevious, the classic sort of vertical shoot 'em up, with a little bit of Ikaruga thrown in, and a very Minteresque flair. He based the whole thing on some South American ox worshipping holiday where there's blue oxen and red oxen, and they're sort of opposing forces. And Jeff took that and made it into a shooter because he's Jeff. So as you play, you can collect either red hearts or blue stars, and depending on which ones you collect, you gain more allegiance with the blue or the red ox. And the more allegiance you have with one or the other, the more firepower you get from their particular pickups. If you're more dedicated to one than the other, you'll have different areas to get your extra lives and stuff like that. And it's just very, very challenging. I'm not terribly good at shoot-'em-ups, vertical scrollers like that. I mean, Ikaruga completely kicked my ass in its day, so I've never been good. It's obviously about memorizing the pattern and learning where the enemies are coming from as you play. One nice feature that Jeff has added to this is the waves of attack ships actually have a little preview, so you can tell where they're going to be coming from. I think this must have come out of his Tempest games, where you can see what enemies are coming up the web at you. He did a similar thing with this, so you can see where the next wave is going to be coming from, so you can sort of position yourself to knock them out. Get bonuses for obviously taking out entire waves of ships and stuff like that. But I'm not terribly good at it. Not to say I don't enjoy it, It's gorgeous. And the thing that is pretty much universal for all of Jeff's games is that they throw a lot at you. There's a lot of explosions, a lot of firepower. In Super Ox Wars, you will become like death incarnate with like a ton of shots coming out of everywhere. You collect sort of almost AI guys. They follow you around shooting behind you. And depending on what allegiance you have, like I think blue repels enemy shots, and red, I can't remember what red does because I almost always do blue. I don't know. I guess I have a preference. Anyways, depending on what you have, as you become more powered up, it'll have beneficial effects for you in the game. So it just fills the screens with explosions, which is what Jeff does really, really well. You'll get those times where you don't know how you survived that. There was so much going on, but it makes you feel great playing it. So anyways, that is the majority of the games on iOS reviewed. I'm going to do an entire episode on Grid Runner at some point, because man, do I love Grid Runner, and it's a whole legacy, starting on the C64 or VIC, and then running up to the iOS. So I want to cover a lot about Grid Runner when I get to that. Anyways, that is my 10th episode. I hope maybe someday somebody will watch this, and hey, if you see this before then, maybe I'll see you at PAX. Less than a month to go. Be excellent to each other, guys.